Hello there, and welcome to episode 170 of the FlameFlash.net podcast. This would be our Thanksgiving break podcast, so a bit more chill, thankful for what we have. Definitely have done some gaming in the last week, enjoyed some family time and food, and even last Saturday, I think it was, we snuck out and caught the wild robot, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic, adorable movie. It's going to be coming out on digital and Blu-ray sometime this month, or next month in December, actually. So that's good to know for anybody who, say, missed it on the theater route. We went to the cheap theater, which has stuff that's about to come to home video, so that's why we caught it when we did and how we did. That's all I'll say about Wild Robot, since it too is, fresh out or soon to be out. Do you have anything to add about Wild Robot, Bud?
Um, Very emotional story.
It is. Oh, and hi, Nailfury. It's just the two of us again.
Hello.
Kind of take it for granted sometimes, but aside from Wild Robot, um, I know you played some Helldivers pretty heavily. Yes, was that yesterday or was that today?
Uh, I think
Yesterday.
this was
Yeah. And then with the crew, and then otherwise we've enjoyed some World of Warcraft with the anniversary event, and
Yep.
then um, and then on Thanksgiving itself there was a pretty good amount of gaming. I didn't participate too heavily in it, but I know I did join in on some Smash Brothers and Mortal Kombat, or not Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 6, and a little bit of Injustice, just between things baking. So
Yep.
a good relaxing long weekend, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. And with that being said, the news is nice and slow. Is there any news items that have come to your attention, Bud, that you want to bring up real quick?
Um, Not really, but I did notice something interesting.
All right.
Um, Not sure if this is true or not. I haven't researched it yet, and it was on TikTok. But apparently, they are thinking about um, banning anyone under the age of 16 from social media.
Yes, that is a randomly talked about tidbit from the GOP very recently. Just upping the age from 13 to have any kind of an internet account to 16 due to various cited mental health studies regarding the use of social media and those under 13 or those between 13 and 18. The problem is it's one of those control things. So it's it's not going to be effective. Think about how I, as a parent, said to, say, your littlest sister, okay, we're going to get you a Discord account because this is one way we can have you communicate with your mother, or a Google account, or any other kind of account. So that way she can communicate with her mother without having to go through me, right?
Yeah.
So parents are going to go around this thing. Or the kids are going to go around this thing. Tech savvy kids are going to go around this thing. So it's a lip service at best. It's one of those, we're going to try and force a control because that's all we know how to do as GOPers without stepping out and listening and trying to solve the issue some other way, like mental health resources.
Yeah.
Maybe offering an increase to funding of um, mental health insurance, or insisting that insurance companies cover mental health better. But no, they want to take the easy lip service way out, slap an age restriction on the thing, and call it good. Call it a day. So I've heard of this too. Even if it happens, it's not going to matter much for the very reasons I just said.
Yeah.
Because at 16, they would have to raise the age to, say, 18, and then require um, age verification via either a phone number or a debit card or credit card or some other payment method where they charge a penny and then refund a penny. But the costs of those kinds of things make it difficult to do. Like the technical barrier of, we're going to just put an age limit on it and not do anything else, that's not a technical barrier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about that one at all. I pointed and laughed when I read that one and just kind of moved on because, yeah.
Fair.
And take that another step. Some parents buy their elementary schoolers cell phones. So suddenly, oh, I have a cell phone number. So I'm going to age verify myself and sign up for a Facebook account, an Instagram account, a whatever account, TikTok. There, yeah. See, I pay for my own bills with supposedly because I have a cell phone number. Boom, I'm in, even though I'm 10.
Yeah.
So it's garbage. That's all it is. Complete garbage. Anything else?
Um, well, I noticed that we haven't seen much news about the TikTok ban. How has that been going, really?
It's tied up in courts, as was expected. Um, TikTok ban, legal status. We'll just live Google search as I look into it. But the last news I'm even finding is from May, September. Oh, there's a November 12th one. Let's see here. May 7th, TikTok sued the government. And that's about where it is it is in court right now, and they pushed the deadline from December 30th out to January 19th due to this, it looks like. And otherwise, we're just kind of waiting for the lawsuits. My guess is if they continue to argue via free speech and freedom of assembly, even this right wing Supreme Court is going to go, yeah, this isn't a national security issue at all. Look at how China has tried to, and other foreign actors have tried to manipulate the U.S. population via U.S. owned social media. And I'll remember to blow out the candle. Thank you, Echo System, for that. I don't even know if it picked it up on the podcast, so maybe I just repeated after it. But
I
so
mean, I heard it.
so that's where we're at. I expect, unless the Supreme Court decides to be willy nilly, like they've been consistently inconsistent. If it's something for Trump, they side with Trump. If it's something that the framers never expected to exist or wanted to push the rights back to the states, Roe versus Wade, for example, they do that. So
Gotcha.
with the TikTok ban and the law specifically calling out TikTok due to due to national security, there we go. They have to prove that TikTok is actually a national security threat. And so far, nobody's been able to successfully do that. I think Rand Paul, a GOPer in the House, he's a very consistent fellow. He has his moral code and he sticks to it. So, regardless of what you think of the GOP in general, that fellow sticks to his moral code and does not bend his moral code at all, including when his fellow GOPers are being idiots in his mind. So he stepped out, he spoke out against this thing in the first place, for example. Um, my expectation, if this was a normal Supreme Court with a normal reading of the Constitution, is that they will throw it out once it gets to the Supreme Court based on freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. We'll have to wait and see what the Supreme Court does, but I expect it to go all the way to the Supreme Court. I just do.
Makes sense.
Anything else?
I noticed Trump has been very quiet since the election results. Um, I don't really have much more to add on to that. I'm
Well,
just confused as to why he was um trying to find the right word here. Very outgoing before the results.
I mean, he was really kind of too old to run and too old to be reelected. So, um, he's taking a nap probably. Old man needs his nap. Uh, on the other side of it, seriousness, he's out there. People are putting together his cabinet team. And so he's making some headlines like Matt Gates slimeball that then dropped out, or the weird WWE connected future Secretary of Education. Like the co founder of the WWE, he tapped to come in and be the head of the Department of Education. Go figure. But
Huh.
his litmus test for if they're qualified or not is if they will say yes to him often and regularly. And she has been a staunch supporter of his for a very long time. So that's why she got the nod. And I guess at one point in her life, she thought she might become a teacher because that's enough, I guess, to head the Department of Education. So under that logic, I am theoretically qualified to run the Department of Education. Just saying. But uh, but yeah, that's what he's doing. He's taking a nap. He's enjoying his cheeseburgers, and he's waiting to step into power. He doesn't need to be loud. He's doing the bare minimum while waiting for his time to step back into the spotlight. That's
Gotcha.
all. Anything else on your mind?
Um, I've been seeing a lot of TikToks of Trumpers just, I mean, this isn't really a question, just gonna be a statement of mine. Um, there have been Trumpers bragging about his win, like a little too much. Um, it, it seems like they are. I'm having a very hard time thinking. Um,
Well, if I can jump,
basically, huh?
they're poor sports, right?
Yeah.
And that's all it is. We saw it back on January 6th. After all, they're poor sports. If they lose, they're going to riot. If they win, they're going to riot. It's what they do. Um, they're poor sports.
Yeah.
They're folks
It,
that you wouldn't want to sit down and play a board game with or a video game with because when they lose, they're going to pout and whine and flip the table or throw the controller. And when they win, they're going to hoop, holler, and maybe even throw their controller and jump around and rub your face in it. They're poor sports.
yeah.
They lost gracelessly and they won gracelessly. So their character is continuing to shine through the same as it has always been.
To which I just honestly say that um there is no honor in flaunting your victory once you have defeated your opponent, is the way I think of it.
Good boy. I mean, you're just supposed to go, good game, move on, go about your day.
Yeah.
Or offer a rematch, depending on what the game is. In the game of politics, we have 4 years. Hopefully. Hopefully. But
Yeah.
that's all there is to it. I mean, we're gracious losers. We're also, waiting and watching and hoping that the American democracy withstands another 4 years. But we're gracious losers. We're just also trying to prep and prepare for the worst. Like,
Yeah.
uh, like for instance, all of the import taxes. Everybody's prepping and preparing now against that. Folks are losing their Christmas bonuses. Some companies are already starting to push prices up a little bit in anticipation.
The healthy food I've been asking for.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's winter right now. So where do you think that food comes from right now? Not the
Imported.
United States. Exactly. Bananas, one of the cheapest fruits you can find at the grocery store. When you go through self checkout, if you want to be a thieving jerk, you put the banana code in and you weigh whatever it is instead. Because that's typically the cheapest fresh produce. It's not going to be with the import tax. It's just not. I mean, maybe it still will be because bananas are just cheap like that, it seems, but probably not. We'll just wait and see. But yeah, we're preparing, waiting. Anything else?
Um, well, this is mostly just um I didn't really write these down, unfortunately.
Oh, that's okay.
Um,
I'm putting you on the spot accidentally because you're accidentally setting the agenda today. It seems, but
yeah.
that's fine. That's good.
Um, well, I so abortion debates on TikTok are happening again.
Yeah,
Um, not too surprising. And once again, it's been the same argument. But honestly, my question is, um, for the people against abortion, is where is the fetus located? And um, realistically, the answer is the woman's body, the mother's body. So therefore, I think it should be her choice.
good boy. I think we'll leave that one at that. I have nothing more to add. It's still going on in the social media circles you're watching, and it's bothering you that so many people are closed-minded about it and trying to control.
Yeah, because honestly, the majority of the people who have been saying abortion is murder, it are the majority are men, is what I've noticed.
It's a control thing. That's what it boils down to. They don't want to admit that it's just a control thing. So they try to spin it with these other arguments and these other pieces to it. That's my perspective on the matter. I mean, maybe some of them legitimately think that it's a murder. I don't know, but some of them need to actually go and understand how a woman's body's works
Yeah,
and look at the science, look at the psychology, and listen to the women in their lives. Like, be quiet and listen. We
because like, sorry, did I interrupt?
oh, just we don't have uteruses, so we need to be quiet and listen.
Yeah, like the TikToks that are in support of abortion, I would listen very carefully to. I mean, doesn't really matter much because I always forget like 90% of it. But they don't always do it just because they can.
Right.
Um, and then for the people who are wanting to say take responsibility for your actions for not being safe, I just want to say those types of people don't get to judge or decide someone else's punishment.
Well, you know, another one of those funny little Christian sayings that they seem to be nicely ignoring because it's inconvenient. Judge not, lest ye be judged. So
What does that mean exactly?
don't be judgmental. It's not your job to be judging anyone else. You don't know their whole story. So you need to just leave them alone, step back, and let the big lady boss in the sky handle the judgment at the end of days.
Yeah.
So sit down and shut up.
Yeah, because that's basically the main point of what I'm saying is like too many people are trying to decide someone else's punishment.
Yeah, and that's what it boils down to is them yet again forgetting another one of those base tenets of Jesus's teachings because they're inconvenient. They're going
Yeah,
after control and they're trying to sell it any way they can. That's my perspective on it. It has nothing to do with anything else but control,
yeah.
annoyingly.
Because man, I had a thought and then I forgot it. Um,
We need to record these earlier so your ADHD meds are kicking in stronger.
yeah, even then they don't kick in that much.
Because it's 8:20 p.m. on a Saturday, November 30th for this recording. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. So, hi. But but yeah.
Um, oh, now I remember. Um, Sometimes there are people trying to be safe, like using protection, and sometimes even that doesn't work.
Right.
Like I've looked up the chances of a condom failing. It's a 1% chance, but that's still a chance.
Exactly. So, one time in 100 it fails.
Yep.
I mean, if the lottery tickets were that reliable, everybody would be rich. Reversing the statistic,
Yeah.
one in 100 and is a winner. Woo boy, I'd be buying one of those lickety split every single week. My time would come.
Yeah.
But fo- folks, and there are so many myriad other reasons why it's necessary medically, whether that be mental health or physical health. And we're not here to judge. We're just not. That's not our job.
Pretty sure one of Jesus' teaching is to also support someone,
Yeah, well, exactly.
no matter the cause, isn't it? Or something among those lines?
To offer love,
Yes.
to give love, offer love, not in a romantic way, but in a kindness way. Love and logic. Indeed, it
Yeah.
is. Thank you, ecosystem. Yes, it is. I need to remember to just record earlier too, because otherwise the bedtime reminders start going off.
Yeah.
But anything else on your mind, bud?
Um, well, there I've been thinking a lot about honor.
All right.
Honestly, I'm just wanting to understand it a bit more because the only type of honor that I know of is the type of honor that isn't used in the battlefield, which is do not kill your enemy if your enemy is already defeated.
Show mercy, take prisoners.
Yeah.
Oh, that's, I mean, honorable actions. I think that's really what it boils down to. Just being in a position of strength, of power, of winning. These folks that are crowing about the Trump win are dishonorable. It's why it
Yeah.
rankles you. It's why it gets on your nerves because here they are, they've won and they're rubbing everybody's faces in it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, they're actions that are honest, fair, worthy of respect, of doing the right thing just because it's the right thing to do, not because of any overarching moral code that if it was missing, you suddenly would go ahead and do the bad thing because there's no fear of punishment.
Yeah.
Um,
Um oh, what were you gonna say?
well, I just recall your oldest sister telling me about running into some fundamentalists on campus where they confronted her about not having a religion. And so does that mean you're going to go and become a serial killer or something? It's like if
Uh
yeah, exactly. There's no logic. There's zero logic between that statement and the lack of having a religion. It's like if religion is the only thing keeping you from becoming a serial killer, then you're not a good person to begin with. It doesn't matter that you have a religion.
yeah.
You're not an honorable person.
Um what I was gonna say is when I was younger, um I didn't really understand why Batman never killed. But now that I'm older, I realize it's because Batman makes sure to defeat his opponents to avoid killing them. Because honestly, I feel like Batman would willingly kill someone, well, kill a villain, if they kept on getting back up.
Well, now we're, taking a good left turn into comics. In some he does, for instance, ultimately kill the Joker.
Yeah,
But at the same time, in many other timelines and stories, he fully acknowledges that the villains that he faces also at one time had a very bad day, just like him. He had
yeah,
the money, the power, and the resources to go and become a vigilante. They didn't. And that's the only thing separating the two of them, and he knows that. He's just as nuts. Let's face it. He is absolutely brilliant, but he's just as nuts. He just chooses his moral code of being good but that's it. I saw an interesting D&D post the other day talking about the alignments. So you have good, where you're looking out for other people. You have lawful, where you always follow the rules, you know.
Yeah.
So lawful good would be those individuals who use the rules to better serve the people. An evil individual, now this was an interesting take on it, so you could have playable evil characters, is simply they put themselves first, always. The individual first, themselves. So, and in that interpretation of the alignment chart, a lawful evil character uses the law to benefit themselves first. Trump. Oh, excuse me. And then a chaotic evil, they don't care about the law. They're going to do whatever to benefit themselves first. Whereas a chaotic good says, well, these laws, these systems, they don't benefit the people. Therefore, I'm going to go and overthrow this king and um, bring peace to the land by helping the farmers and the people, non nobility, you know?
Yeah.
Like there, so that's where going with that, I guess. But
Um, isn't there also honorable villains too, though?
right. But there, in that alignment chart, that's them being, say, lawful evil. So they're following the rules, but the rules have to first benefit them.
Basically, like that one uh D&D part where I can't remember the character's name. The orc or paladin um went up against that dude who
Mm,
just stopped attacking once the paladin was defeated.
right. So we were in that game that we were playing in your future brother-in-law. After switching characters, uh, as a paladin, volunteered to take on this guy and lost, but rather than being killed, that warrior character said, "Okay, you did what I said you do. Now I'm leaving. You know, I've shown you my power. Fear me, go away, don't chase us, etc."
But he still kept his word along with being merciful.
Lawful evil. They set a
Yep.
rule and then they left.
Honestly, gotta love the lawful evil types.
Well, cool. Anything else?
Um, Not that I can think of. I love my ADHD brain.
That's okay. Well, thank you for setting the agenda for tonight. I had something else planned, but we are approaching the 40-minute mark, so I think we're going to call it there.
Cool.
So thank you, bud.
Yep.
And with that, this was episode 170 of the FlameFlash.net podcast, and we were joined with Nailfury. Oh yeah, I'm Flame Flash, and my words are my own. If you want to send something in, Feel free to comment on YouTube or send in to podcast at flameflash.net. We had a YouTube comment from the Video Game Awards discussion from last week saying 0 out of 10 stars. We needed to bash on Bungie and Destiny more. Well, our Destiny player isn't here this week, so we'll just say Destiny or Bungie, you're being dumb. There we go.
Yeah.
They're a
Um,
far cry from the days of Marathon, which is when I played their games on the Mac, and that's really dating me because the marathon game, Marathon Bungie. Now I have to look it up real fast. Marathon by Bungie was released in 1994 for Apple computers.
oh,
Yeah, thank you. But with that, this has been episode 170, the Thanksgiving break episode, and we'll see everybody on the other side.
live with honor.
Indeed.